Hey guys, Marcel here again with another interview. We talked to the series MVP Sven after a very great 5-game series. So coming into this game, everyone doubted you guys, maybe that you would probably get stomped 3-0, but the first 2 games you kind of looked good, and then the third game you got stomped, but then you put Pekka in and everything changed, the momentum swung in your favor, and then you closed out the series with a 3-2. What was like the general preparation for this game? I think someone of your team members said that if you like fix the mistakes that you made in the UOL series, that you will come out at. Did you think that you fixed enough series or enough mistakes to overcome that and maybe win the final?
I think that this was probably the toughest challenge so far we have had. And in this last 2 weeks, we have really, I think we practiced well. We've fixed so many of our mistakes. We played good early games, I think, aside from that 1 game against H2K. And the only thing we didn't do well in scrims was ending the game. Like get that lead and then snowball it, and then you have to end the game at some point. After 6 towers, you have to get Nash or a team fight that wins the game. So that's kind of what showed in the first game, that we weren't really able to get that Nash, even though they had a blocked ward. I don't think that was the reason we didn't get Nash. So we just couldn't really get Nash, or get a team fight or the TP flank or something. So we always have trouble ending the game once we get the lead, unless the game is like face roll, So yeah, it showed that we couldn't end the game so well. And the third game was kind of like we got outdrafted, I think, and they just had 3 lanes pushing, and then at some point the Lee Sin just walks mid and he just lanes there and takes tower in our face, and then they use TPs and Sandra, which is better than Kassadin's TP, and then they just take out top tower at some point after a gank, and Echo could clear a tower 1v3 against me and Alistar, so we're just getting pinned down, and then once you get 3 towers with 1-1 comp, you just slowly take the map like this, you just move up the map and you get more on the enemy team, and then get a Drake, Herald, and then at some point they just face roll us to death. So I think overall we played a good series.
Touching a bit more on that closing series, where the first game especially with that ward, were you guys informed beforehand? I think we saw some writers tweet out that this bug is known that it exists, and what happened after that? Because you lost our whole momentum and kind of lost the game up before that. Why wasn't the game paused maybe, or what in your opinion should have maybe happened?
Well, we were aware that there's a bug that this is going to happen, but we weren't aware in the game that the bug happened, so we actually didn't know that there was a ward in Nash Pit. And usually Riot pauses the game and tells the team that there's a ward there, so they can go scan it or something. But in this game they didn't tell us that. But in the game we thought that the reason we didn't get Nash was because they saw Mitty behind Nash Pit. So I don't know how it would turn out without the ward. Maybe it could have been different, but it wasn't really that made them win that game, because we just screwed up and didn't get a mid T2 tower early enough, and we didn't end the game properly, so it was our own fault anyway. But as what you said, after we lost the entire momentum, we had a 7-0 lead early game by towers, but we kind of just didn't do anything with our lead, and then we just went equal. And once you get later in the game, iron leads doesn't really do so much, 5k gold lead is not so much in the late game anyway. So, and then there was one team fight at Nash where I dashed into a smoke screen and then I died, but if I played that fight right, we would have won the game. But yeah, anyway, we should have won that game before this came into play, right? So
okay, so Forgiven, actually our start guy Magic, he had a crazy start line where Forgiven is he's 11.4 CS per minute on this whole series. So what do you think he should have done better to win the games? Because he was on Sivir duty 4 or 5 games, and that kind of crazy, to go with that performance, what was maybe what he should have done different to win the game?
I mean, I don't think it was necessarily his fault. You have to target a player that he's not the reason they lost, but I think that either it's him or the team that doesn't use Sivir ult well, because there's a lot of fights where they just use Sivir ult and you're like, what the fuck, what's going on here? Because they just wasted it again, and then they wasted again and again. So either they as a team don't use Sivir so well, that's why we didn't care about it, and we just picked Lucian. It was fine for us. But I think that, I mean, they just didn't play Sivir so good as a team, right? We picked Braum into Sivir a lot of games, and Braum absorbs the W bounce of Sivir, which is what makes us strong together with the ult. And the ult were wasted so much because they don't use it right as a team. So I guess they just don't play Sivir so good as a team, and then Braum counters Sivir really hard.
So in your opinion, what are the best AD carries right now to play? Because I think a lot of people have different opinions what you should pick. Maybe Kalista, people don't really play Kalista, and then people first pick it. Then there's obviously Sivir. You're a big fan of Lucian still. What's in your opinion, the top tier picks maybe that are game influencing?
So it showed in the series that it was basically Sivir against Lucian 4 games and 1 game Lucian against Corki. So I think for H2K and us, it's pretty obvious what AD carries are the best. But back to Kalista, I would like to play that champ, but Riot nerfed all the items she uses, like Blade, Hurricane, AS Boots, BT, Stairs Cage, and now more on the light patch, but it's the old patch anyway. And then they nerf her passive, so she doesn't win lanes so hard anymore. Even with Thresh, you don't win every lane, you just win most of the lanes and pressure. And then the worst thing is that her ult got nerfed, the range of the ult, so it's not as reliable or as OP as before. And then on top of that, the meta is like Maokai, Poppy, champ with Iceman Gauntlet, Sunfire Cape, the 2 items of Doom. And you cannot really outplay these items because you don't do so much damage to them early in the game. And champs like Kindred, the champs don't care about you jumping around, you know? So there's so much, I would call it, outplay potential anymore on champs in the game right now. Like every champ has target spells, there's Alistar, there's Braum, he hits you once, you're stunned and by, you know? So Kess is worst right now. And then she got nerfed on top of that. Like items are bad, meta is bad, and the nerf. So it just sucks a bit.
Okay, so judging all 5 games of the series, do you think that H2K underperformed, or maybe that OG kind of found their way? Because throughout the whole season and last series, you kind of struggled a bit, but this series you kind of showed that you can actually like win against H2K, who was supposed to be the best team in Europe.
I think that H2K didn't underperform as a team. In game 3, they played really good. Like they totally destroyed us and made fun of us in game 3. But overall, I feel that I thought Jankos would be way more scary than he was. Game 1 and 2, I think Maurice played really good and actually like out jungled him or whatever you want to say. And then Vander in that one Bard game, he didn't really play that good either. So I'm really disappointed in Vander and Jankos overall. I thought they would really like do good together in this game, in the series. So if I had to put someone who was the worst player of the series, I thought Jankos would be a lot better. I thought he was the best jungler in Europe for sure, together with Trick for the series. And we fought the 2 as well, right? So I banned nearly every game. But yeah, I think that H2K played good as a team overall. Like, sure, we won, but I thought that before the series started, I knew that it was not going to be a 3-0 for them. So I think that they played fine as a team.
Okay, so you have to face either G2 or Fnatic. The storyline would be really cool if Fnatic would actually win, so you meet in the final again as a revanche. But what do you think is like, who do you want to face more? Like, who are you less scared of? Who do you think is the better team of the 2? Maybe what's in your opinion like the one thing that is like the difference between both teams?
I mean, it doesn't matter because it's rigged in a way, right? So, I mean, I would like to answer, but it's easier to answer tomorrow after the series of Fnatic against G2 because I want to see G2 on stage again. I haven't seen them since week 9 of LCS, but I've been screaming Fnatic almost every day and like 1 or 2 scrim sets against G2. So I can't say too much about what I think is going to happen, but I think it's going to be closer than people think. I think Fnatic, like week 9, they were really bad, I think, but they really picked it up together. As I said in my interview some weeks ago, I thought Duel was the biggest team because I knew that Fnatic would get it together. And they really did. They have good drafts, most of their games. They have they have always mistakes too, like we do. We cannot end the game so well. They have different flaws. I don't want to talk about them here, but you know, like I think the series can be very close, and I think it's gonna come down to the mid lane matchup a lot and jungle matchup because I think that Spirit can be really good on champs like Kindred, Graves, like the carry jungle style is really good for him, and Trick is just really, really good overall. And then Perks and Riven are both really, really good together. Like they do stuff like they carry games alone sometimes, set on Perks or Fabio and Lissandra against Vitality. You know, like they're really good these players. And for the bottom lane, it's gonna be equal, I think, and top is gonna be a tanks. So. Yeah, nice meta, right?
Yeah, nice metas. Thank you so much for your insight, and of course, best of luck in the finals. And we see us in Rotterdam, of course. And if you want to check out more interviews, we have them covered at theScore eSports.com. Make sure to check them out. Feel free to follow our Twitter account, and we have an app. Thank you so much for watching, and see you guys next time.